The UK left the EU at the end of January 2020. We had a 12-month period of grace that ended at the back end, 31st of December on 2020. And for you, for your EU, EEA and Swiss national employees, pre-2020, anybody from that region could come and work in the UK, and also vice versa. Okay, total free movement. Clearly, that is no more. So the government has announced the EU settlement scheme, and it falls into two clear divisions. The first division is the settled status. So if you've got an applicant who has resided in the UK for a continuous period of 5 years, they have what's known as indefinite leave to remain. So they've got settled status. So what should happen, your EU nationals that work for you should be applying for settled status, and they will continue to work seamlessly until they retire or leave your business. The pre-settled status, that is for EU nationals that have been in the UK for less than 5 years by the 31st of December 2020. So what they're saying is, I've been here for 3 years, I don't have the settled status, which is 5 years, I have the pre-settled status, which is up to 5 years, and therefore they apply for pre-settled status, and they can continue to work absolutely normally in your business with that qualification. And when they get 5 years, they will get the indefinite leave to remain. So your EU nationals need to be getting one of these two statuses. So what you might want to do is explain to your staff, all of your staff, they need to make sure that to find out if it's relevant to them, and if so, they need to have this in place prior to 30th of June 2021. You get a copy of that on their HR file, and that's all you need to worry about. The UK points-based immigration system, which means we still, in the United Kingdom, we can get foreign workers to come and work in the United Kingdom, but previously they had to either come from the EU or the EU area, or they had to be skilled. The EU area has now been shut off post-Brexit. So the only way you can now get foreign labour into the United Kingdom is via the skills-based system. The first point is you can't just do it. You'll have to be now required to hold an approved Home Office sponsor licence. So you've got to meet certain criteria. The second point, this can be obtained through an online application process. But the government has now put everything online. It's reasonably painless. So any person you want to hire from outside the UK will need a visa. And the most popular route to attain a visa will likely be the skilled worker route. What you need to do to avoid those heavy fines and avoid that time in prison is every single employee of yours, when they come to work with you or continue to work with you, they need some right to work checks. If you just say to your foreign nationals, I need to see your passport, and the guy you've known all your life down the road that you went to school with, I don't need to see your passport, you're being discriminatory. Everybody prior to employment, or at least on the very first day of their employment, must bring the relevant documentation to confirm that they have the eligibility to work in the UK. There are two types of documents when it comes to providing legality to work. The first document is the forever document, such as a UK passport or settled status or whatever. Document B is the documents or the visas that are time dependent. Typical examples are student visas. They have the right to work now. As HR professionals, you should be making diary notes and creating HR evidence, but that will expire. So just because they're okay to be legally working now does not necessarily be reason to believe they're going to be working legally in 2 or 3 years' time. It's always best to at least do a manual check. Best practice is your photocopy. If it is a passport, the front page, you need to then take a photocopy of the page we've got their face, date of birth, that page. And thirdly, if they've got any visas, and this will apply to foreign nationals, you need to make a permanent record of that. What also you need to do is add right on that in the HR file that whatever your employee, HR professional that's done the checks, that they sign to say that they've seen the original. And that will be our defence in the event that we are found to be employing somebody that's not legally allowed to work here. You are not supposed to be experts on forgery. If the Home Office comes on your site and finds out that you've been supplied forged documents, the liability does not lie with you. As long as the documents are not obvious, you're pretty much home and dry. If you have any doubt, there is a Home Office checking service. It's an online checking service where you can input details of where you need to be, i.e. employee's name, date of birth, etc., etc., and you will then get a web page to say either yes, they're happy that they can work, no, they definitely cannot work, or alternatively, you'll often get a bit of a fudge page which will say you need to make your own checks. So that's a really important takeaway from this slide. Do your manual checks, be thorough with your manual checks. Any doubt, go to the Home Office online, get their check, create a copy of that and put it on file. And if you find yourself in hot water, your defence would be, I asked the Home Office who are prosecuting me, and the Home Office are the ones that said it was fine for this person to work. You can continue to employ your EU, EEA and Swiss national employees until the end of June. The danger is that your Polish workers, your Spanish workers, your German workers are being harassed due to their nationality. So what you might want to do is put out a general email to all staff just to remind everybody that if you need to get your settled status sorted, you've got until the end of June to do it. The second point, employing EU, EEA and Swiss national employees, that is new starters. Please beware with new recruits. If somebody was not in the United Kingdom before Brexit, certainly before the end of the transition period, then you need to be very, very careful going forward about how you employ people. So the first thing we need to do, we need to support your employees. We need to provide encouragement and guidance on how they can apply for settled status. We can provide information on your workers about the UK points-based immigration system. The UK government has provided online support for employers and employees. It doesn't say employees on that site, but it's certainly there. And there are downloadable presentation leaflets and courses that offer guidance to support for employees. So what happens after the 30th of June? So after the 30th of June, there will be no need to undertake retrospective checks for your EU, EEA and Swiss nationals that had employment before the 30th of June, etc. So if you've got settled status, if you've made that check, you're confident that they are who they say they are, that's it, you're home and dry. Second point is you need to protect yourself. There's some very hefty fines, there's some very hefty prison sentences. I'd suggest it's keen that you make sure you've got your house in order. Okay, so conclusions. First of all, encourage your European staff to get settled status by the end of June. The second takeaway point from this presentation, recruitment for unskilled jobs has basically stopped. Global recruitment is possible, but it's complicated and for highly skilled candidates only. The fourth takeaway point, keep immaculate records. And the final point, and it's the point to round off the presentation, is get expert immigration advice.